forgotten to my office is this morning. But that's okay. I just feel behind. Okay. We're gonna get, yes, we'll get started and away we go.
Yeah, I've talked to him.
That's it. Okay.
I think he's in Canada.
Oh, my, we are.
But this is great. I told him.
Well, I think we're ready to get started. Just a minute late. Welcome and Merry Christmas. Wow. You know what? The next time we get together, it's a new year. Good grief. Where did it go? So thank you guys for those of you that are here in the audience. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your ongoing interest in our community and your presence. It's appreciated. And to those that are watching online, thank you for your interest in the work of the city. So, as we typically do, we begin and open with prayer and then the Pledge of Allegiance. And Jordan Hodges, thank you, Jordan, for being here and opening us. So Jordan is a pastor on staff with Christian Faith Center. So come forward and lead us in prayer and in the pledge.
Mayor, City Council, it's always an honor. If you join me, Father, we thank you so much for tonight. Thank you for your goodness. Thank you for this City Council. And Lord, thank you for the agenda that's set forward tonight. Lord, we ask your blessing on every single item of business that's going to take place. We know every single decision that's made in a setting of this magnitude, it affects lives, it affects the citizens of our great city. And Lord, so we take it very serious, and we ask that your hand would be upon every single decision. Lord, would you give wisdom? Would you give peace? Would you give guidance? We pray that you would bless everything that is said and done tonight, that you would guide it and steer it, Lord, in a way that would bring life and goodness and prosperity to this city that we love. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jordan, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for all you do for your community, for our community. And then I know that you guys pray for all of us all the time, and I just want to say thank you. It's appreciated. Thank you. We'll start with roll call.
Rodriguez,
Here.
Bruner,
Here.
Hogaboom,
Here.
Levi,
Present.
Haverfield,
Here.
Skog.
Here.
Awesome, we're all here. Okay, are there any proposed amendments to the agenda? Anything to change? Okay, seeing none, then I would stand for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Mayor,
Yes.
I move that we accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Bruner,
Yes.
Hogaboom,
Yes.
Skog,
Yes.
Haverfield,
Yes.
Levi.
Yes.
So this evening, we have no proclamations. And the next item on the agenda would be Nampa residents wishing to speak on an agenda or non-agenda item. Okay, so I see Mr. Curtis Holmer. And Darren, thank you for bringing up our list. So Curtis, you know what to do here as far as 3 minutes and name and address and all that stuff. And
You're going to hold me to that, aren't you?
yeah.
Okay. Well, I just wanted, on behalf of the rodeo board, I just wanted to come down and thank each one of you for your support through the year for our rodeo. Without your support and the city's partnership, we couldn't have one of the top rodeos in the country. And we just got back from Las Vegas last week, and I'm glad I don't live there. We go down for meetings and to the rodeo. And I said, when I see what they do, they have a lot more money than we do, but I said they don't do any better job on a rodeo. So I'm real proud of our rodeo, and I just want to thank you. I've sat in your seat before, and I know your challenges, and I think you're good stewards of our money. And we appreciate that as a board because it keeps us in business. So just wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas and tell you those things, and I'm done.
Curtis, thank you. And thank you for all you do in our community.
You're welcome.
both in the rodeo side, but boy, you and your wife volunteer a lot and you've done a lot. So thank you for your leadership.
I'm
It's
sorry
appreciated.
tonight for about 30 minutes, so she's going, I'm going. So, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. I believe we have Kenton Lee here. And, hi Kenton. And are you speaking on an agenda or non-agenda?
Non-agenda.
Non-agenda item. Okay, so go ahead and give us your address and.
Thank you. Mayor Kling and the council, thank you for the opportunity to share. My friend Nate and I are going to use a loophole and give a 6-minute speech within 2 3-minute time slots. So the first part is mine. I'm a lifelong resident of Nampa, 216 12th Avenue North here in Nampa. I appreciate the access to city leaders and the ability to communicate my opinions along with Nate as citizens. And I'd like to address the decision on October 15th to approve $1,800 for 10 anti-panhandling signs. I was not at the council meeting, but I've listened to the entirety online, and I met with Councilman Skog personally to discuss this issue. I have one major concern, and then Nate will present 2 side notes. Our major concern is that we're painting with too broad a stroke a story that might not be true about those challenged by poverty and homelessness. For example, I grew up thinking that all people challenged by homelessness were lazy and didn't want to work. That might be true for some, but is definitely not true for all. But it was a broad stroke taught by those around me. Councilman Skog is worried about issues related to drugs in our community and their effect on crime and many other things. I understand that and I respect that. He cites a stat that 93% of panhandling money is spent on drugs or alcohol. This stat comes from a man named Robert Marbut from Texas, who's a consultant on poverty. But there are other stats that tell different stories. One other stat I found is that 94% of panhandling money is spent on food. Stats can tell all kinds of stories, but I have no doubt that some people challenged by homelessness do use donated money to purchase drugs and alcohol. For sure, some do, but not all. And again, my issue is that our city and our city leaders are using too broad a brush to paint a picture that all people challenged by homelessness and asking for money on the street are drug addicts and alcoholics. I don't believe this is true. I don't want my kids to believe this is true. I don't want myself or my kids when they're older basing our response to these people challenged by homelessness on an incorrect reputation, like I did growing up thinking that all homeless people need is a job. Homelessness, poverty, motivations to beg on the street, these are complicated issues and happen for a variety of reasons. And I want to voice my opposition to these 10 signs, some of which might be placed in prominent areas of our city, signs that help to communicate to people who Nampa is and what we're all about. I want to voice my opposition to these signs because they paint with too broad a stroke a story that is not fully correct. And this leads to perceptions, which lead to belief, which leads to actions. It might seem small, but I think these signs could take our community down a path that hurts those challenged by poverty and homelessness. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nate Roskam, 217 South Powerline Road in beautiful Nampa. Mayor Kling, Council, thank you very much. The 2 smaller side notes are action items on which we would request the council to take action. First, if the signs are important enough to do, which again, we would disagree that they are, but if there's a mandate from the council for the signs to be created, let's do them well. From the conversation on October 15th, it did not sound like the exact wording of the signs was finalized, but responsibility was given to the Nampa Police Department to finalize wording and placement. The Nampa Police Department and Chief Huff are remarkable at their jobs. God bless the difficult work that they do, and we know they come into contact with those challenged by homelessness on a regular basis. But it is not their main role and function. Wouldn't it make sense to involve professionals whose main role is to work with those challenged by homelessness and poverty to work on the wording of these signs? Maybe collaborate with key social work leaders or charity leaders. We were disappointed that this was not a requirement in the initial council decision because it just seems to make the most sense. And we would request of the council to remedy this and ask Chief Huff to form a committee made up of social work professionals or charity leaders to help with the wording of these signs. Second, we were disappointed that the council did not take more time over the course of a few Monday council meetings to think of a creative solution to this issue. Councilman Skog mentioned at the October 15th meeting that there are other cities who have these signs. That is true. Although from research, each city had a healthy discussion with supporters and detractors before making the decisions to have the signs. But there are also other cities who put up signs for the benefit of those challenged by poverty. For example, in 2015, in Albuquerque, they put up 15 blue signs in areas of panhandling that encouraged people to call 311 to find out information about social services like food, shelter, and jobs. This was a resounding success. Could we do something like that? Maybe, maybe not. But we believe it is worth the discussion. We would request of the council to form a committee of social work professionals and charity leaders. It could even be the same committee helping with the wording of the signs to explore other signage options to better help our community members challenged by poverty. Thank you.
Kenton and Nate, thank you for coming forth. So I have a quick question. Are the signs done? Have they already been? You're checking on it? Okay. So I think from my perspective, I would be very open if the signs have not already been created. And I'm going to assume, Chief Huff, you would welcome input? Absolutely. Yes. So how about if we just at this say, thank you, appreciate it. If the signs are not already done, let's go back and look at the signs before they're actually printed. I don't know where we are in the process at this moment.
Madam Mayor,
Thank you.
if I may, we already made the decision, and I did consult with social work leader, not somebody with a social work degree, but Reverend Bill Roscoe, and he's very much in favor of these signs. So I don't know the status of them, but I think it's a good idea. I still do. It was unanimous by the council. I don't want to mess with it anymore by delaying the signs. Let's get them up. It's Christmas season. And then if we can revisit another time if somebody wants to put together a committee, but I don't want to delay those signs. I don't know, other council members?
Mayor, thanks Kenton, Nathan, for visiting. Just kind of off note, congratulations. I don't know if everyone's aware, they won the Patent for Humanity Award from the United States Patent Office. And Nate was in DC. That's a very significant award that they won. And it's just awesome to see homegrown talent doing great things in the world. On the signs, I expressed some concern because there was a follow-up meeting where there was, I think, a design that was, it wasn't in that October meeting, but there was a follow-up meeting where you presented what the signs would look like. And I didn't want to drag out discussion at that time, but I was concerned because there was an ordinance or something listed at the bottom of that sign. I did have follow-up with Chief Huff because I expressed my concern that the council did not pass an ordinance in our meeting. And I was pretty, I don't want to say vehement, but I did not support an ordinance that would make illegal panhandling because it's a protected First Amendment right. I was informed that that ordinance that was listed on the bottom of the sign was not an ordinance that reflected what we had. I think it was a disorderly conduct or something like that. So I did express some follow-up concern, and I don't want to air out too much here publicly other than say that I did try to have some follow-up. And I don't know if the signs were already done because I also didn't want to spend more money to do a second wave of signs after the first wave of signs were done if it had an ordinance. But to be clear, we did not pass an ordinance. And I did not want more than 10 signs in that meeting, that October meeting. I said no more than 10. So I kind of stand by those actions. If there's input on how it could be improved, I welcome that. But what Councilman Skog says, if the signs have already been done and they're okay, there was discretion given, if I recall, for the location, the placement of it. And I can see where that might be perceived as sort of abdicating our role as council. But at the same time, I think we didn't want to micromanage the placement of signs, and honestly did not want to spend a lot of precious city council time talking about location of each and every single sign. To be honest, it was okay, 10 signs, leave it up to the police to strategically place that. So I just want to provide some of that added commentary for the sake of Kenton and Nate. I don't know if it speaks to some of your concerns, but perhaps it does to some of them, and understand the deliberation on our end. So that's pretty much all I wanted to share.
Mayor Kling. Also, I want to ask Kenton, is there anything else that we should know that you weren't able to talk about tonight? Or have you covered all the issues? And the same goes for Nate. Well, sure.
I guess, yes.
You might as well. You come on back up.
I mean, at this point, this is all opinion, and Councilman Skog and I met. We agree to disagree on this subject, I think, but I would just say, well, he did, and I knew that he had consulted with Bill Roscoe, who I also respect a lot. I think there are, not I think, I know there are other charity leaders who would disagree and would be more on my side, where the way we talk about people challenged by homelessness is important, and the way that our city presents itself is important, and that we think that even though these are just 10 signs, it's not the way I want my city to talk about those who are homeless. And again, I'll also note just that statistics can be used in a myriad of ways, and I think the best way to find out how people are using money who are panhandling would be to get to know them and ask them. And I can't speak for everybody, but I have a very good friend who has been challenged by homelessness, and I know when he panhandles, which is rare, but he does it sometimes, and he uses it for food. And so that's kind of my experience with this issue. Once I got to know someone who panhandles, I discovered it wasn't for a drug habit or for alcohol. He's hungry. And I just want to, again, not paint with too broad a stroke, and as a city say that we believe these people don't deserve the right to, it's not illegal, but that, hey, we shouldn't give these people money because they're going to go use it to do bad things. I don't want to view every homeless person that way.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor, I don't know what, as far as protocol, I have a couple questions just for individuals out here. Is that okay, or do you want to move on?
During
to
this,
another?
this is,
We're kind of getting beyond just three.
Well, I think just from a public standpoint, though, I think that there are alternatives. We know that are available, and I guess my question is, are those being verbalized? We have a lady from the Salvation Army here. We have the police here. My understanding from the police is that they do stop and speak to these individuals. They let them know where there is food to be found. I guess the bottom line question is there not food available? I've been told time after time after time, if somebody is hungry, there's food available in this community and places to go. Now, I realize if it's an overnight stay and if there's an alcohol or drug abuse, that isn't prohibited in the rescue mission, et cetera. So as far as my understanding with these signs is that also advocates to these individuals who we care about. They're as important as anyone in this room and anyone up here, that there is help out there. So anyway, I don't need to bring them up. I guess that's just my point. But unless there's somebody disagrees with that, that is my understanding.
thank you.
Okay.
So just one other thing, Jeff, I think you have an answer. Do you have an answer to our question?
So we did approve a sign type and 10 signs in 10 locations. Checking on where we're at in the process.
Okay, thank you for that update. So we'll come back, we'll get the update, and then we'll come back and notify the council where we are in the process. So we have one other person signed up to speak on 3 minutes. It's Margie Potter. Yes.
You get to go up anyway.
And is this an agenda or non-agenda?
It is a non-agenda.
Non-agenda item.
And I'm Margie Potter, at address 403 12th Avenue South, the Salvation Army. I'm the, what is my position there? Development and PR Director. It's just a name, I don't know what it means. Okay, so I'm going to give my 2 cents on that just for a second here.
Just know you have 3 minutes.
And I know.
Okay.
But if you guys are going to do the signs, I mean, and you are going to do the signs because it was already, already said that we were going to do the signs, I like the idea of putting 211 on there. Directing people that if they need assistance and they're homeless to call 211. So that would be my 2 cents on it if you're going to do it. That's not why I'm up here, though. So I came to talk to you about a couple of things. So the bell ringer, I want to tell, we've had some bell ringing competitions going on here. The fire department and the police department, I think, are waiting patiently, or not, for me to tell their totals. They had a little competition this weekend. And let's see, the police department is $1,488.87. And the fire department was $1,260.82. I will tell you, somebody brought this huge thing of change to the police department kettle. So I think that's what did it on that one. And then there's a couple of other competitions going on. The high school cheerleaders, all of our main high school cheerleaders, rang bell for Battle of the Bells that they did. And Nampa High School did $478.92. Columbia High School did $334.24, and Skyview High School did $312.78. So I want to give them a big hand because that was awesome. And then we still have the service clubs competing as well. There's one, I'm going to give the totals of them. Only one is still out. So the Nampa Kiwanis total is not in because they rang bell yesterday, and we don't have their total yet. So I'm going to give everybody else's total, and then I'll give the Nampa Kiwanis total, which we have no idea what that is yet. So Rotary is $2,250.75. Treasure Valley Kiwanis is $777.57. Women's Century Club is $1,483.30. Exchange Club is $784.73, and then the Nampa Kiwanis right now is $140.35, but their buckets were super heavy yesterday. I went and picked them up, so we'll keep you informed. So anybody that wants to still ring for their service club and have it added to that service club total from now until Christmas Eve, if they let me know, I will add it to that service club. If they're not signed up already, if they want to sign up and ring bell for 2 hours or something, I'll add it to that service club total of their choice. So that's it on that. And then I do want to tell everybody that Christmas dinner is being served at the family shelter on Christmas Day. So there will be a free meal, free dinner, singing, Santa, and special gifts. And it'll be at 5 p.m. They said they have all the help that they need. They just want people to show up, anybody in the community, if you don't have family in town or you don't have anywhere to go, or you just, want to join us, come down there at 5 o'clock and have Christmas dinner. Also, tomorrow and Wednesday is our toy distribution, and it's being held at Christ the King Church, which is 2121 Caldwell Boulevard, from 9 to 5. So if you wonder where all the toys from those angel tree tags are going, I would encourage you to come down and volunteer for just an hour or so. And what you can do is you can help walk a family through and shop for toys for their children and see where that's happening, where that's doing. So we have lunch from 12 to 1, but come in anytime between 9 and 5, and I'll hook you up with somebody, and you can walk around and shop, and it's just probably the best volunteer opportunity that you can have throughout the year.
And what date was that?
That's tomorrow, the 18th, and Wednesday, the 19th. Okay? And,
No, Nampa Mayor, I'm just a little concerned. There's two council people up here that are part of Nampa Lions, and I know our bucket was awfully full at Albertsons on Saturday, but we were not included in that?
I'll tell you what, you guys, the only reason I didn't include that, I can include that if you'd like at the end, but I had a hard time getting a hold of somebody for when we did the Christmas tree lighting for Lions, which after the fact, they were really super disappointed. But I will add that total in there for you because I've had several Lions Club members approach me. And this is pretty competitive city here, and they're all competing for this big gigantic bell. And,
As long as it's consistent for everyone and
Yeah.
everybody has an even playing field, it's awesome that our service clubs are doing this. And police and fire, thank you for going out there. That is awesome. You guys did amazing. When you think about in those hours, you guys raised that much.
They did.
Awesome.
They were out there, had families, their families signed up and stood out there all day, so it was great. So everybody have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is an opportunity for mayor and council comments. And council, do you have any comments?
Just follow up, in the future, when people give 3 minutes, we probably shouldn't go into discussion about it one way or the other. I know, Madam Mayor, you made a proposal, and then we kept going. But the signs are still going up. The council hasn't changed that or slowed it down,
Right.
so they're still
Thank
going
you.
up.
Thank you. And Councilman Levi.
I am excited to announce or bring forth for the council and our community once again a project that Mayor Kling was supportive of, and I've been working on throughout the year for David's Hope to get a memorial put out at Kohler Lawn for those of us that have lost a little one due to miscarriage or infant loss. And last month, I was given and presented the first ever Hope Award, and it was really, really exciting. And the other thing, apparently it's floating around in my car, is I got a baseball from, I think is it Cleveland Indians?
Yeah, Cody Allen is
Cody
the closer.
Allen, thank
Yeah.
you, as a pitcher. And I'm just really excited, not specifically for myself, but that I got to be involved. Our mayor was behind it, and so many players in the city were so generous to support it. But I want to once again bring forth David's Hope. And if you or someone you know has lost a baby due to miscarriage and infancy, we have a memorial we're so proud about at Kohler Lawn, so they have a place to go. It's for the person that lost them. And there are some really magnificent plans forthcoming, so I'm just really excited about it.
Thank you. Anything on this end?
Just Merry Christmas to everyone and Happy
Yes.
New Year. And we'll see you in 2019. May it be blessed for everyone.
You know, Saturday morning, Shop with a Cop, there were 100 kids there, officers from all across Canyon County that were shopping with the kids. And Chief Huff shared, and someone else shared that day, that Canyon County raised twice, I believe, what Ada County raised. And one thing I can say for the Shop for the Cop event, one thing that I can say about our community is that we are a giving community. A community that cares, a community that gives abundantly. And I just want to say, I'm so proud of our community. It's awesome. So, thank you. So moving on to our agenda, we are ready for staff communications. We have one staff communication from Public Works, Tom Points.
Evening, Mayor, Council. I got two items on the staff report today. One is about we come and regularly give you a report about snow events. Had a pretty light winter so far, knock on wood. We had a couple events, put down about 12,000 gallons of de-icer and 26 cubic yards of salt. We're ready to go if more snow comes. We're constantly watching the weather and prepared, and we'll be out there. We did hear from our weather sources at NOAA that it's going to be a warmer and somewhat drier winter, so this may be more of this to come. We'll see. You never know, but we'll be ready. Next item is about wastewater treatment plant and recycled water and our reuse. So in approved facilities plan and also according to our NWAG, our wastewater advisory group, they voted for the preference of reusing our water out of the wastewater treatment plant. So that's what this graphic here is showing you. The existing wastewater treatment plant into some filtration, and we could put that into the irrigation canal, which in this case is the Phyllis Canal operated by Pioneer. They've been a great partner for us in this project. Or another option is to take that same water and put it make it available for industry, for economics, and we're planning a pipeline in the facility plan to North Nampa to make that water available. So some examples of water, what could be used for that could be data centers that would cool their facilities. What's not showing up real well here, sorry about that. This is there's a shaded out version of the cooling tower. So, with this reuse plan, we're able to not build a cooling tower, and it'll save some construction costs. Also with this option, we'll have relaxed requirements for phosphorus removal, because it's not going into Indian Creek, it's going in the Phyllis Canal. So this is a good proposal that the Wastewater Advisory Committee was in favor for. Water is becoming a very valuable asset to everybody, and this puts the water in a beneficial use for the city. So, and also, which I forgot to mention, in this Phyllis Canal, we also have several irrigation pump stations, which will be able to reuse that water and put it back onto lawns in Nampa. So the process for getting a reuse permit, we go to, it's actually permitted through the Idaho DEQ. And so we've actually put together a pre-draft application and sent that over to them. And we'll be meeting with Idaho DEQ actually tomorrow to collect what are their initial comments. The next stage will be back in the council in early January, asking for approval to submit the formal permit. And then the IDEQ will look over some more, and they'll put it out to public comment sometime around early spring. And there'll be a 60-day comment period. So in the meantime, as we submit this permit, we've been developing a list of agencies and individuals and different folks that we could go do some outreach on. So can I answer any questions about the reuse permit?
Any, thank you, Tom.
Okay, thank you.
We have no unfinished business tonight. Item 5 on the agenda are just the pending ordinances that are postponed due to lack of supporting documentation, and so we are ready for new business. And our first action item is the reappointment of Rick, my goodness, Bugatosh? I'm probably saying that wrong, as Chair of the Nampa Housing Authority. So is anyone here tonight to speak to that? Ah, okay, so,
I'll make the motion to approve the appointment.
you will? Okay.
It's Rick Bugash
Thank you so
with Houston Bugash Architects. He's
Okay,
been
so you
involved
know
with the Napa Highway, or Napa Housing Authority for several years.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, so discussion? No discussion? So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No one. Thank you. Okay, the next action item is the appointment of Rebecca White to the Nampa Library Board, and I know that Claire Conley is here. So Claire, thank you for coming forward, and I'd like you to share with us the process that you went through here. Needless to say, the other one was a reappointment. This is a new appointment, so I'd like you to share with us the process that you went, the number of applicants, who was on your board, and a little background.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor Kling and council members, for having me here tonight. I'm here to ask you to appoint Rebecca White as our next liaison for a position. I want to thank the mayor particularly for allowing the library and the library board to be involved in this. That was very important to us, and it really turned out well. We had 5 applicants. One of them did not return a call for an interview, so we interviewed 4. They were wonderful Nampa citizens. They loved the library. They talked about all sorts of things. But let me tell you that Rebecca really stood out. She has grown up in Nampa. She was born here. The library was incredibly important. The old library, when she was growing up, she'd come there all the time. She has 2 children. We were just discussing that. She has a 6th grader and a 1st grader, so she's right in the middle of all that educational stuff, and she knows how important it is. She gets libraries, and that's why she is the perfect fit for the library. Did you want to say anything?
I didn't have anything prepared, but Mayor Kling and Council, thank you. I'm honored to join the library board. As as stated, I grew up in Nampa. Such an important part of my history, being a part of the library, the educational activities, the literacy involvement. I've moved on to become an educator myself and work in technology and education technology. So, I'm really excited and honored to join an already great board and director, and look forward to the future of Nampa and the library. It's such a great community center, and just really honored to be a part of the team.
That is great. Thank you very much. Council, do you have any questions?
No, I'll make the motion that we accept her.
I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah. There you go. Thank you so much for your willingness to serve.
Thank
Yes,
you. Merry
Claire.
Christmas. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
So we have another action item. This is the Police Department request for U.S. Night Vision and funding options. Brad is here to speak to it, and then, do we have any? Okay. And then legal counsel will have some comments.
Well, Mayor and Council, thanks for the opportunity. I think we've probably accosted most of you individually about the issue of adding night vision to our equipment and capabilities at the police department. And we have, quite frankly, worked fairly diligently for about the last year on trying to come up with a solution that would work with current budgetary constraints and whatnot. So I'm pretty happy with where we've gotten to at this point. Before I guess give you that, I will talk just briefly about the advantages that night vision brings to the Nampa Police Department. It sounds kind of advanced, it sounds kind of militaristic. The realities of it is a safety tool that protects not just the officers that use it, but also the suspects that we're encountering. It gives us an advantage of remedying situations at a much faster rate in much more difficult conditions for suspects, increasing the likelihood of a peaceful outcome and a positive outcome. I will tell you that this is something that I was figuring we probably wouldn't have an opportunity at in my career, which is, as you know, getting closer to the end. But I think we have gotten to a point now where we've come up with a scenario that is just, in my opinion, really difficult to pass up. When we looked at this equipment just about 6 or 8 months ago, we were at about $145,000 to outfit the team of 20, and that's with the infrared laser systems as well as the night vision. Since that time, and working specifically with U.S. Night Vision, who is headquartered right here in Nampa, down on 12th Avenue, we've cut that cost down to just under $100,000. In addition to that, we've worked with Canyon County Sheriff's Office on a shared grant that we have with them, and they are willing to pick up the first $20,000 of that purchase. So we've effectively brought it down from $145,000 to about $80,000. That is still a tremendous amount of money, and don't think that that's lost on us. But it's an opportunity, I think, that we feel very strongly that we need to pursue. Night vision gives us the ability to communicate in complete darkness with each other without being seen. It gives us the ability to see people moving in complete darkness. And that is a rare opportunity that I think one incident where a suspect or an officer is injured, really $80,000 becomes a very small drop in a very large bucket. So we think it's a great opportunity. Additionally to that is the interoperability. We are the only team left in the Treasure Valley that does not have night vision capability. Canyon County is working on their last purchase to finish outfitting the rest of their team. A portion of their team is already outfitted. The 80 county agencies are outfitted, Caldwell City is outfitted, so we're kind of a little bit behind the curve, which quite frankly is pretty unique for Nampa. We are usually on the cutting edge, and this time we're just a little bit behind. But by doing that, we've saved a tremendous amount of money in this investment. So we're really down to, truly there's 3 options. One is to do nothing. That's the option we like the least at the police department. One option is for you to allocate the additional $80,000 out of fund balance. I do not have that in my budget. I can't squeeze that out of my operations budget. And third option, and I think the city attorney will be happy to comment further on, is the idea of a lease purchase. You approved one already with the fire truck. Community Partners Financing out of, I believe it's Kansas, is willing to do the same thing for this equipment over a 5-year period of time, with the first installment being paid with the grant money and 4 additional years at roughly $21,000. So it's a little bit bigger investment. It's about $7,000 more to go that route, but that is an option. I would defer to the city attorney on whether or not that's the best option to exercise at this time. But with that.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks, Mayor. As you know, my office has reviewed and approved what are called non-appropriation leases for the city on a couple of occasions before, most recently with respect to the purchase of the fire truck. What I want to report to council is our preference that this need be, funded through some kind of allocation of fund balance paid back by the police department over time. That is not a debt. The non-appropriation funding through the non-appropriation leases likewise are not a debt. And the current state of the Idaho law is that, provided that the lease can be canceled at the end of any fiscal year by a decision not to appropriate funds to pay the lease price, that also, the court has told us, is not a debt. My colleagues in the Idaho Municipal Attorneys Association, many of them take a much more conservative view than my office does, fearing that the court may revisit this issue, that there is currently one case on point. The facts of that case are a little bit odd. Had to do with the development in downtown Boise where there were multiple millions of dollars at issue. And it was very vigorously contested. But there is a sense that this area of the law may still be in flux. You know, we are comfortable with what we have told you so far. We are comfortable with community leasing partners. We have worked with Mountain West Bank on their leasing program, and certainly there's promise there. But there is a word of caution. And if there's another way to do this, particularly for something of this size, we would be urging the council to carefully consider that. I don't know whether that's a possibility or not. I haven't talked with our interim finance director about it. And the second thing is, for these reasons, I think, you know, we as your attorneys would want to communicate not just to council but to department heads that these non-appropriation leases, and then I get, Brad, it didn't come up in this is, your situation is a little bit different, but these are not good alternatives to, you know, planning to pay for the things that you need out of the current fiscal year. And we would not want to see in this coming budget session, you know, departments trying to use this non-appropriation lease financing as a way of purchasing things that they don't have the funds for at this time. And certainly not unless there is a way to, you know, fully explore what the alternatives are. And I get that the more money you're spending, particularly on vehicles, particularly on fire vehicles, it becomes a much more difficult task. And so we'll continue to work with the city on this, on the non-appropriation leases, but I did want to throw out, you know, a word of caution that we are currently reviewing in my office.
Madam Mayor, question. So is there a time limit on this as far as for this amount of money, whether it be a lease or outright purchase? Is there a reason why it could not be continued until the next fiscal year?
Well, two reasons. One would be the fact that we don't have it. And what I mean by that is if we have a major operation, we draw on teams around us to assist. They also draw on us to assist. We aren't able to assist the other teams in the valley on certain incidents because we don't have the same capabilities. And so our assistance becomes less valuable to them. So that's one of the reasons that we're feeling a little more urgent about this. The other is that U.S. Night Vision, they don't just deal in night vision, they also have facilitated some other equipment purchase for us, and they've been a fantastic partner. I mean, I can't even tell you how great a partner they've been. But they are, in a sense, doing us a favor by reducing the cost as much as they have to try and facilitate this for us, knowing the situation we're in. I can't speak that their grace on that price will be forever. They've not given us an end game. They said that that's what they could do for us right now. How long that will last, I don't know. Some of that is coordinated based on the fact that they are able to do large orders and tag this onto a large order. Their orders are usually measured in the thousands, not by 20. And so they're able to tag this onto an order and they're able to give us a better pricing that way. So it could be situational from that standpoint. So this price could go away. It may not go all the way up, but it would probably go up somewhat.
Thanks.
Mayor Kling,
Yes.
over here. I think about 2 months ago, there was an incident at the Davis Apartments on Davis Street, to where a man with a bow and arrow, not a bow, crossbow, and he was going to kill police officers. And he hid in the parking lots, moved around in the dark, and our officers, with about 3 of them, I think, right, 4, went through that parking lot in the dark without any light. I don't know whether y'all been there. I have been there. And it's not fun. And it is ugly. And the reality is someone's going to get hurt. And the officers, thank God, did not get hurt. So that I support this 100%. The other thing is this. It's a good business to rent, to lease for $20,000 a year, or to just purchase it and own it forever? That's my question. So, do you see a better solution to this lease thing? Because I don't agree with that.
Obviously, I think an outright purchase is better for everybody involved. It saves money to the taxpayers if we're able to do it that way. I do understand that it also takes sacrifice. There's a lot of needs in the city. We'll be the first to tell you, we know the police department's not the only one with needs. The usable lifespan on this equipment is truly measured in decades. The technology in night vision has advanced very slowly over the years. So, and the equipment is very durable. And so, you know, it does have a lifetime, a lifespan that, you know, goes 10, 20 years.
And the other thing is, when they get obsolete, you can turn those back in for a separate price. Correct?
There is a return program.
That's correct, okay.
Yeah, virtually all these companies.
Or if there was a lease agreement, it would be a little bit different. You'd be paying full price, right?
Yeah, certainly couldn't make any changes until the course of the lease was.
That's correct, okay. Thank you.
Councilman
Mayor, Council-
Haverfield.
I think, yeah. He was up next.
He was up next.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brad, is this tactical gear that's left in the vehicles, or is it, is it your SWAT team that has it? Who has it, and where is it kept?
So it is assigned to the SWAT officers. They carry that equipment with them when they're working. They leave it with their SWAT gear when they're not working. So the majority of those fellows are on patrol. So if they're working a patrol shift, this equipment would be out in the field during a patrol shift. And then, of course, if they transition to a full operation, it would go with them to the full operation.
So if you had a full operation, does that deploy 20 officers or 10?
20.
20. So that's why you need,
It does depend on the size of the event, but it's usually the full 20 or whatever portion of that we can get based on vacations.
so why aren't you asking for 22 instead of 20, just in case, because things happen, they go down, you don't have a spare unit.
We have a great commitment with US Night Vision being right here in town, and we actually had that discussion in an effort to keep this cost as low as possible, because these pieces of equipment are very expensive. Two of them are binocular style with 2 lenses, and they're about $18,000 a piece. The other ones are monoculars with single lens, and they're considerably cheaper, but it's still a pretty large investment. So they have assured us that they will support the equipment. If we have a piece of equipment go down, they'll get it repaired or replaced as soon as they can, which for them is measured usually in days.
So the officers that are on patrol at night would not have access to these, only the SWAT team members?
Just the SWAT team members. Now, they are spread out throughout the division. So there are SWAT team members, as I recall, on both night shifts, both swing shifts, and at least one of the 2 day shifts. So they're really out in the field. They're also in SROs and some other areas around the department. So by assigning them to each of the individual officers, it increases the odds that that equipment will be available at any time that we need it.
Thanks.
Mayor,
Councilman
Council?
Hogan.
Yeah, I don't know if there's further discussion. I'm willing to make a motion if, I just had a question about whether this is a budget amendment, if we appropriate in a motion today to approve $79,370 out of the city budget fund balance, or how the motion
So-
needs to be made.
Well, if this is a lease, and the first
Yeah.
year's budget of 20,000 is being covered by Homeland Security through the sheriff's office,
Correct.
then there would be no budget this year, because this is a non-budgeted item.
If we do the lease,
If we do the lease,
Yeah,
if
I'm
we do
referring to
not do the
a fund
lease.
balance purchase. Because the 4.4% interest, it's not very high, but it's higher than what we're getting as a return on our investment. So I'm just kind of following the Dave Ramsey plan here and saying that saving $6,000 out of the, I don't want to make a motion that is out of order. So
It
the
would
request, yeah.
So
whether
this
is a
would
budget
come
amendment.
from, it would be both a budget amendment, and it would have to come from reserves,
Mm-hmm.
from a fund balance, is where the funding mechanism would be.
Yeah,
at
it
this
would be a
point.
future budget amendment, and, there currently is adequate fund balance, but keeping in mind that a budget amendment will be coming for the building purchase, and the payout for the workout hour will be coming out of fund balance as well. So those are 2 significant items that are going to be coming forward out of fund balance, so.
Well, it's either going to come out of budget capacity for 4 years, or a one-time purchase now and save $6,000. I know it doesn't seem like a big amount, but we either do it or don't. I'm convinced, along with, I appreciate your concern about, the concern in our community about the militarism of the police, and to be clear, all the surrounding forces have this, and to pay our officers what we do operationally, everything else, and to send them out in the dark without this resource, as Councilman Rodriguez pointed out about, and we can go after incident. So the most cost-effective way to me seems to be to use the money. I'm sensitive to the fact that there's outgoing expenses out of the fund balance. In your opinion, is that going to compromise, is it okay to ask the opinion of our current operational finance
It's a
director?
big
All
question,
right,
though,
yes.
because is it going to compromise? I mean, it's 79,000, we've got a couple million coming out, so that's a relative question. It's a principal question as much as anything.
Actually, are we going to affect the security of our officers for $79,000? I don't think so. Not an issue with me.
Madam Mayor, if I may just follow up. So just clarification, Brad. So if we go with the lease, where it'd be no money outlaid as far as this budget year, that's my understanding, Mayor, then is there a lease to purchase agreement where we could purchase after this current fiscal year to make the purchase then with the new without leasing beyond that point?
Yes, Mayor, Councilman Bruner, it's actually a purchase now, so we would receive the equipment immediately. Community partners would pay US Night Vision for the equipment. We would encumber our budget for 21,000 and change over the next 4 years, money that wouldn't actually be coming into us to cover that cost.
Okay, so my understanding is, though, then we could actually, after this first year, we could actually purchase where it would not be a lease agreement following that point or not? That's my question.
The question is actually, if you don't mind me saying so, it's actually, is there a prepayment penalty in the lease agreement? And that would be a question for Mark Hilty.
I think, Mayor, we haven't seen the documents yet. My belief is that there will be, because it's a tax exempt obligation from the finance side. They're going to want to ride that out to the end of the term. So my guess is that there will be prepayment provisions that include penalties.
So based on what I believe I'm hearing, and legal counsel Mark Hilty, we've had that discussion as far as the principle of leasing, and so, which isn't necessarily in the best interest of the city. And so I think the recommendation would be, this would probably be coming forth as a budget amendment, and the decision to make a purchase that would come out of the fund balance if we don't have a surplus to where we could actually pay for it.
Okay, Mayor, Council, is that a motion that can be made tonight, or is it a budget amendment have to be posted for input?
And I'll defer to Michelle too, but I think the answer is it's very common to have a budget amendment towards the the middle or end of the fiscal year, because these things happen. And so I think if you authorize that expenditure tonight, and it is agendized as an action item, that the money would be transferred, the purchase would be made, and then the budget would be amended to include this and the other things that Michelle mentioned, and there may be other things. But so usually you kind of accumulate those amendments and make them at one time.
Okay.
And that would be in March.
Sure. Well, I'll make the motion then to, with the understanding that you're getting 20,000 from Homeland Security, that's for sure?
Yes.
Okay, then the motion is for $79,370 to come out of our current reserves, in addition to the 20,000 from Homeland Security, to be clear, for the total of the 99,370 that's provided in our packet that you've provided to purchase 22 night vision devices, mounts, 24 IR laser designators.
I'll second that.
Question. So there is 22 that you're looking for, or 20?
It's 22 on here.
22's on here.
Which was my question. I thought, why aren't you going after 22 if you only need 20? So there's,
Apologies, I don't have the quote in front of me, and I don't remember what those items are for specifically.
because I didn't read that, but that makes more sense to me. That's the motion I would have made, so.
It was your forethought, I think.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call.
Bruner,
Yes.
Levi,
Yes.
Haverfield,
Yes.
Skog,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Hogaboom.
Yes.
Okay, 6.4 on the agenda, this is the approval of a beer, wine, and liquor license for Mesa Downtown LLC at 1213 First Street South, and Robin Sellers is here to present it.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Mesa Downtown LLC, doing business as Mesa Tacos and Tequila, is requesting an alcohol license. They're seeking council approval for their location at 1213 First Street South. Mesa Downtown has met all the permitting requirements as regulated by the Idaho State Police Alcohol Beverage Control in Canyon County. They've received their county license today and are seeking approval for the permit tonight. Just want to say that the owners have demonstrated a lot of commitment to having their restaurant downtown, and their opening will be at the new year with the acceptance of, or the approval of council for the alcohol permit.
And can you go ahead and tell us what the food portion of the Mesa is? Go ahead. The tacos.
Oh, they're having tacos, I talked to Shayna Randall today about they're having all sorts of different tacos, salads, soup, and some appetizers, and I don't know if you've driven by on First Street, but the improvements to that building are phenomenal. And so we're super excited to have them downtown and keep the vibrancy of downtown going.
So, Madam Mayor, if I may, yeah. So, Robin, this is a full liquor license, so any type of alcohol can be served, is what I'm
Yes.
hearing. Okay.
Yeah, obviously they'll be focusing on tequila as that's part of their name, but yes.
We appreciate the fact that this is a restaurant, the taco side, the soup and everything in addition to, because that's something that we do need downtown. And I understand the renovations. It's going to be amazing, and we appreciate the investment.
Yes.
Thank you. Any further
Madam Mayor, thank you. Fellow council members, in the past council, some of us talked, and I think Haverman, Councilman, I almost said Congressman, Councilman Haverfield.
You know something we don't?
Councilman Haverfield and I were among those that talked about, we don't want downtown to become just a bunch of bars. Now, this is a restaurant bar, so I'm in favor of this. But for the future planning for downtown, and I know we're looking into the future for the plan, maybe we should express in the future that we want no more full bars in downtown, so it just doesn't become an anti-family place. So, but that being said, I'll support this motion and make the motion to approve it this time.
I'll second it, and I'll also put in a plug for my son who's building all their furniture for him.
Very good. Just comments in our consent agenda, just because I also Alvin Mullins is here with 2C Family Brewing, so I know that there's a couple things going on. That was already approved in our consent agenda. And so with Mesa Tacos, it's just good to see. And I know both of you are putting lots of money into our downtown, so thank you very much. So, yes, I will definitely be supporting the motion.
Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Brunner?
Yes.
Hogaboom?
Yes.
Levi?
Yes.
Haverfield?
Yes.
Skog?
Yes.
We wish you the best as you complete your construction and get open for both of you. So. Okay, let's go through one more action item. This is 6.5 on the agenda. This is to authorize the mayor and public works director to sign a task order with TO Engineers to provide design, survey, and engineer of record services for the aerial sewer replacements for the FY19 project, and this is in the FY19 budget.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Hogaboom?
Yes.
Levi?
Yes.
Skog?
Yes.
Haverfield?
Yes.
Brunner?
Yes.
We're going to do 6.6, and this is an action item to authorize the mayor and public works director to sign a task order and contract for professional services between the city of Nampa and Paramix, Inc. for Zone F annual pipeline replacement project.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Levi?
Yes.
Haverfield?
Yes.
Skog?
Yes.
Brunner?
Yes.
Hogaboom?
Yes.
And I am going to go ahead and go through these before we're done, before we move into public hearings, if that's okay. We'll just get the agenda done. And, you know, if everybody's reviewed, they don't have any questions, and so thank you for standing there. But you're welcome to stay there, Tom, because we may. So this next action item is to authorize the mayor and public works director to sign a task order and contract for professional services between the city of Nampa and Mountain Water Works for the FY18 water improvement project. That's at 11th Avenue and 2nd Street and 11th Avenue and 4th Street. The project design and construction can be funded with savings from in-house design of Zone F annual pipeline replacement FY19, which is out of the water enterprise budget contingency. And Tom, do you want to just speak to that ever so quickly? as far as the funding for it, so that we all understand?
Yes, Mayor. So on the previous project you just approved, we're going to do some in-house work and generate some savings. And when we found a good use for that savings out here on a project near 11th Avenue. So this fall, the water crews found there was a break on one of those lines near 4th Street North, and they went in and looked at it. It was highly deteriorated. So, and they also did some potholes on the next road down and saw the same thing. So we find this project to be important, and we're a little concerned about those water lines there. So we wanted to move this forward, and we can do what's called a pipe burst. And so we don't have to trench up the brand new pavement on 11th Avenue. We can come in and burst the pipe and bring behind it a new pipe, so we don't have to do a trench. So we're asking for authorization to have this new project and use this project savings and hire this consultant to work that.
I make a
Excuse me.
motion to approve the motion as written, or the request is written.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yes, Mayor, are you referring to 11th Avenue North and 2nd North, 2nd Street North?
Yeah,
I just want to clarify it.
yes, it is 11th Avenue North.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion? Roll call.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Hogaboom?
Yes.
Levi?
Yes.
Skog?
Yes.
Brunner?
Yes.
Haverfield?
Yes.
And the next action item we'll take after public hearing. So it is 7 o'clock and we'll move into public hearings. So our first public hearing is the annexation and zoning to RS6 at 2724 Somoli Drive for Alan and Karen Wheatley for connection to city sewer services. And is the applicant here? There you are. So in a public hearing, we have the opportunity for the applicant to come forward and to share your project and what you're requesting. After that, then we'll have a staff report. So we'll let the applicant come forward. As you come forward, please state your name and address.
Good evening and thank you. Alan Wheatley, address 2724 Seminole Drive, Nampa, beautiful South Nampa. We just petitioned to join the city of Nampa because our septic system failed, and rather than try to patch and all of that, we elected to explore the option of connecting to city sewer and paid our fees. So we're here to ask for permission, I guess.
Wonderful. And thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Nope. Thank you so much. If we do, we'll have you come back. Thank you. Staff report.
You've been through some of these before. In this case, the applicant is present. And we notified him earlier today, and he wished to be here, so we appreciate his attendance. Again, this is coming from the Planning Commission as a recommendation for approval. It meets the criteria that we've established for annexing these parcels as a condition of connection. And it is in an enclaved area, so it's, there's actually the lot adjacent to the south was annexed previously under similar status, which is also part of this subdivision, and I would expect there may be more in the future coming along there. And again, it is part of about a 95-acre enclaved area within that subdivision. One condition recommended by engineering staff is that the abandonment of the existing septic system would be accomplished under the standards and guidelines of the Southwest District Health Department, and we would recommend that condition be put in place as a part of the approval. Any questions?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Norm, I'm just curious, what is the process in an abandoned septic tank? What do you do? I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Mayor, Councilman Skog, generally speaking, it's an abandonment of the tank. They pump the tank out, crush it, fill it with sand, fill it up.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is a public hearing, and according to our document, we have, the only person signed up in support is the applicant. There's no one signed up to oppose. Is there anyone here tonight that had intended to speak on behalf of this particular issue? Seeing none, if there were any, do you have any questions for the applicant? Okay, if there are, and the applicant, you don't have anything else you need to share? Okay, I would stand for a motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Council discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
fellow council members, I know these folks from many years ago. I want these kind of people in Nampa, just for who they are. So I'd move for the approval with conditions as presented on the annexation and zoning.
Second. And welcome to Nampa.
Welcome to Nampa. You can get a library card, by the way, too. You'll get a library card.
Any discussion?
No,
Rope.
just get all your neighbors to come in also, okay? All right.
Okay, roll call.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Brunner?
Yes.
Hogaboom?
Yes.
Levi?
Yes.
Haverfield?
Yes.
Skog?
Yes.
Congratulations. And welcome. Item 8.2 on the agenda is an action item. This is annexation and zoning to RS at 2420 East Amity Avenue for Stephen Warren for connection to city water and sewer services. And is Mr. Warren here this evening? Thank you for coming forward, and go ahead and state your name again and your address.
Name's Stephen Warren. The address of the property is 2420 Amity Avenue. And similar to them, except for my situation is the not the septic, but the well. I didn't want to re-drill it, and Nampa just spent a ton of money to put in a new road and put in all the water and sewer services. Why not take advantage of it and go ahead and get it annexed and get the water and sewer services?
Good for you. Thank you. And staff report.
Again, the commission has recommended approval to you of this annexation and zoning request. The zoning is to RS6, which is compatible with the surrounding zoning there to the south. It's already in the city limits. And this, again, is part of an enclaved area that's even much larger, I believe, than in the prior area. So it does make good sense from the tidying up the city limit standpoint in this case as well, at the request of the applicant to connect. Any questions?
Thank you. Seeing none, this is a public hearing, and there is no one signed up in, other than the applicant in support of and no one opposing. Was there anyone here that had intended to testify on this issue? Seeing none, I would stand for a motion to close public hearing unless there are questions from council.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion? Stand for a motion?
Mayor, I'll make the motion that we accept these folks with the new annexation and zoning agreement with the conditions. There's two conditions of approval, I believe, so that'd be my motion.
I'll second.
Welcome.
And any further discussion? Roll call.
Hogaboom?
Yes.
Levi?
Yes.
Haverfield?
Yes.
Skog?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Brunner?
Yes.
And to the Warren family, welcome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 8.3 on the agenda is an action item. This is the vacation of the right-of-way located within the Nampa Industrial Corporation First Edition subdivision comprising of .683 acres, which is located running north off of Industrial Road between Lot 1 on the west and Lot 6, 7, and 8 and Block 4 on the east, and the Phyllis Canal and parcel R311881000 to the north for NLH LLC, John Barrow, and Homestyle Industries to retain ownership of the adjacent vacated right-of-way. Is the applicant present? Okay, no applicant tonight? Staff report. And as you get started, I'm going to ask you, did you guys notify the applicant?
Yes, we did. We communicated, I believe.
Excuse me, are you the applicant?
This was initiated by Mr. Jenkins. I'm Homestyle Industries. I wasn't here to speak or anything. I was just here to be present for the meeting.
Thank
That
you.
might be the next hearing, Mayor.
Well, Homestyle Industries is,
Yeah, this party is one of the adjoining owners to the vacation area and has given their consent
okay,
and would actually receive part of the right-of-way if it's vacated.
okay.
Again, this is coming forth from Troy Jenkins as the applicant, but the other persons listed there in the staff report Troy Jenkins is NLH LLC, and John Burrow is Canyon Marine, and Randy Raptosh is Homestyle Industries, Inc. These are the parties affected adjacent to this vacation. And as you can see on the overhead, this shows the area of the vacation. It's kind of an alley that leads back to a larger area, and it was all platted as right-of-way with the plat. Kind of shows a blow-up of the area again, kind of showing the location. And then this is a enlargement of how the right-of-way would be split up with the property owners there, the three that have been discussed here. The area of this is about 29,750 square feet, and it would be divided up in the pattern shown here. And there are no city sewer or irrigation mains located in the right-of-way. There is a 6-inch water main located about 120 feet in from the southerly end of this. And I believe there's some Idaho Power lines that go through this area. Idaho Power has requested easement be retained over that, and I think the city engineering has also recommended that a full-width utility easement be retained for all existing public utilities, or the owners have legal descriptions with exhibits created that blanket the existing utilities and dedicate the same for use and maintenance. I think I don't know which is the recommendation of engineering, which of those two, but probably the full-width utility be retained would be the easiest way to deal with. In any event, there have been no expressions of opposition from anyone via email, etc., regarding any opposition to this. And I think it's just an effort to, I think as the applicant indicated, the action is being requested as it is no longer subdivided and all under one ownership. Each current occupant would retain possession. That's the explanation of the applicant on that.
Mayor Kling.
Yes.
So Norm, the utility easement is where?
I think the recommendation would be that we retained over the property.
For the full length going
Yes.
to on the diagonal going, so is that gonna straddle the center or the assumed new lot line? Or will that be on one half?
I think it includes all of it. Danny, do you have any explanation on that?
Mayor, Councilman Haverfield, the recommendation would that the easement blanket the entire vacated right-of-way, or if the applicant wanted to go to the expense to have specific utility easements drawn up for the existing utilities, they could do it that way, and we could retain those with the vacation ordinance. But most likely, the simplest would be to retain the easement over the entire area, and then if they were to, for some reason, want to build within that area, they would have to come back and vacate those easements in areas that don't have existing
Right,
utilities.
and that would have been my next point, is why have, I mean, there's no benefit to build on if it's a full easement. They can't build on the easement, so.
And currently, none of the property is used as for buildings or anything. The majority of it back in the back area where there would be some area that could be built on is used for RV storage. And I don't know, in talking to the applicant, I don't believe there were any intentions to change that use.
Okay. Well, I saw Bish's RV, their name on here, but, so is it for them, or are they giving up the property?
It's the underlying property owner. I don't know the relationship exactly with the RV, whether that is the RV people or not. We've had discussions with various owners of the RV lot there over the years about vacating this. So it's not a new idea, just finally something that they decided to proceed with.
All right, thank you.
Are there any other questions for staff?
The applicant may be here.
Okay. Thank you. So we are on public hearing. This is 8.3 on the agenda. This is the vacation of a right-of-way. And there was an opportunity for the applicant to speak. Is that who you are? Yes. Okay, why don't you come forward, give your name and address, and thank you for sharing with us what your intent is. It's a good thing you came when you did. You would have missed it.
I know. My name's Rachel Myers, and I'm here on behalf of Troy Jenkins for NLH, the Nampa Land Holdings.
Thank you. And your address? Or their address? We can probably get it. That's okay. You can
I got it.
proceed and we will, is that all right? Okay, we'll get it. You're
Okay,
good.
All right.
Go ahead.
Cool. So we're just here to ask for requesting vacation of the alley because we're no longer subdivided, and we will just give each owner, they will have possession that they're already using. So that's pretty much what we're asking for.
Are there any questions from council? Even though there are no questions, we appreciate you being here because it is something that we've talked about as a council, having the applicant present.
Yes.
So thank you.
Oh,
Your timing was great.
All right.
And if there are questions, we will come back to you with them.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is a public hearing, and this is the opportunity for those that are wishing to speak in support of or to oppose. The one person we did have sign up in support of this is Randy Raptosh, and was that you? Yeah. Would you like, go ahead and come forward and give us your address and your name again, and that way we can hear what you have to say. Even though maybe you didn't intend to speak. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah, no, it was initiated by Mr. Jenkins, Bishop's RV. He wanted to get his, I don't know what his plans are, if the old lot is being sold.
There are no plans. He just doesn't.
Yes, he just wanted lot lines cleaned up. He actually came into my property as he cleaned up his lot line with surveys. This area is, our property, the boat dealer in mine does not go all the way to the back. Troy approached me and said, do you mind if we vacate this? It's trees and weeds and the road's not maintained, it's all fenced off.
I'll let you go back to the mic. That way the people on the internet side can hear you.
The road's not maintained, it's all fenced off. It's just got trees and bushes. And so Troy approached me and said, do you mind if we do this and vacate this and get this? And then you and Burrows from Canyon Marine just go ahead and split this road that is just weeds and trees. And I'm like, okay. It didn't really impact me one way or the other. So he initiated it. I came to the meeting just because I have had other industrial real estate. I like to be at the meeting just to see what's going on. So it wasn't anything I initiated. Bishop's initiated it.
But you support it.
Yeah, I don't know if I can speak for Canyon Marine, but he obviously called me and said, what do you think? And I said, okay. And he said, well, okay with me. So again, I'm
Right.
not speaking for him.
We appreciate you being here because it helps give us perspective. So
Okay.
thank you so much.
Okay.
And again, I've got your name and address, but it's Randy Raptosh, and you're at 7756 Highway 45, Nampa?
Yeah, and actually, it's HSI Corp. is my holding company.
Okay.
And it's P.O. Box 1496, Nampa.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So we don't have anyone else signed up to speak on behalf of or to oppose this. Is there anyone in the audience that had intended to speak on this issue? Seeing none. Before we close public hearing, are there any questions from the council for either the applicant or staff? With that, I would stand for a motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Council discussion? I would stand for a motion.
Mayor, council, make a motion to grant the vacation of the right-of-way located within the Nampa Industrial Corporation, First Edition subdivision. That goes back to the 60s, by the way, if you look at the history of that. But comprising .683 acres located running north off Industrial Road between Lot 1 on the west, Lot 678, Block 4 on the east, and the Phyllis Canal and parcel R311881000 to the north for NLH LLC. Now, this is why you don't want me making the motions. since I already told you.
Well, next time we will.
Include the.
John
condi-
Burrow and Homestyle Industries to retain ownership of the adjacent vacated right-of-way
I'll second that.
Include the recommend.
with recommended conditions of approval.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further council discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Brunner,
Yes.
Levi,
Yes.
Haverfield,
Yes.
Dog,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Hogaboom.
Yes.
Our next agenda item is an action item. This is a zoning map amendment to RS6 to BC for the second parcel of west of 11460 West Carter Road for Jeremiah Jenkins. Is Mr. Jenkins present? Thank you. This would be an opportunity for you to come forward and share what you're working on.
So we purchased this property with the understanding it was all under commercial, and after we purchased it, during the signing of it, found out that that little strip was zoned residentially on accident, and it was supposed to be fixed, but never was. And so we're just wanting to get it all fixed because we're moving our landscape yard there, and we're gonna set up a nursery and rock yard, so.
Great. Thank you. We'll have you back if we have any further questions. Staff?
This matter was heard before the Planning Commission, and they are recommending approval of the rezone, or have recommended approval of the rezone, excuse me. A little of the more history on this. This narrow strip of land was originally erroneously annexed along with the property to the east, and zoned RS6, or I should say the property to the west, the Crestwood Estate subdivision, and was zoned RS6 at that time. The subdivision survey basically mistakenly included this strip, and somehow they changed the ownership back to whoever the owner was at that time, and then the subsequent property owner purchased the area, or that parcel, as well as I think the property to the east, and found out that it wasn't zoned the same. And so he's just seeking to combine that strip with the parcels that he owns to the east, and has plans to utilize it for his purposes that he has planned there. He did receive a contact from the Homeowners Association president for Crestwood. They were a little confused about it. They thought that it was a common lot, and I think in the subdivision it showed it that way originally. But what exists out there is not a landscape common lot, it's just a little strip of weeds that nobody's done anything with. And the homeowners certainly haven't protested it in any way, taking away from their common area, because it doesn't exist there. It's not actually included. It's just right behind all those homes that line up along that side of the subdivision. It's not been used in any way as a common area. So anyway, this is the intent, is to clear that up, adjust that zoning boundary to match what he owns.
Mayor Kling. Norm, the full frontage improvements, curb gutter and sidewalk, landscaping, is that just on the south end where it abuts Karcher Road?
That little strip, yeah, if that's what we said there, yes. It would be along that strip.
So nothing
That's the
north-south?
only piece that's being annexed, or not annexed, rezoned.
I was
The
looking for a
frontage.
description of what that included, but
Yeah, it's.
I had assumed it was just where it abuts West Karcher
That's
Road.
right, that's right.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions for Norm?
Just on, Madam Mayor, if I may, just on the number 2 recommended, it just says right away. So ITD is responsible, there may be in the future, a widening of that road. And so I guess just clarification again, so where this curb and sidewalk and so on going, could that eventually be taken out, or where are we at on that? I guess if that's the case, I'm not understanding that requirement if that's a future proposal.
Mayor, Councilman Brunner, the frontage improvements would be something we would deal with their building permit.
Okay.
Oftentimes on the state highways, the state prefers to just get right-of-way dedication and not install all of those improvements, and ultimately where it's their right-of-way, that's their purview. And so we would be with their building permit,
So you'd
working
be in
with the state
communication.
to determine what improvements they want to have installed, though likely curb gutter sidewalk would not necessarily be installed there at this time.
Okay, yeah, that makes logical sense, thanks.
Are there any further questions for staff? Seeing none, this is a public hearing, and we actually don't have anyone signed up other than Mr. Jenkins in support of, and we have no one signed up in opposition. Is there anyone here that had intended to speak on this issue? Seeing none, are there any further questions from council for the applicant or staff? If not, I would stand for a motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Council discussion?
Or all in favor to close public hearing?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I don't know. Is that
Thank you, I
necessary?
just forgot it.
New mayor.
Yeah, yeah. You know, actually, I'm going to pause because I did not ask the applicant if he had any further comment. Did you have any further comment?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, thank you. So we do have a motion on the table to close public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for catching me. I appreciate that. I was moving on. Okay, council discussion?
Mayor Kling, I would make a motion to approve the zoning map amendment from RS6 to BC for the second parcel for Jeremiah Jenkins at 11460 West Karcher with staff recommendations.
Second.
Further discussion? Roll call.
Brunner,
Yes.
Hogaboom,
Yes.
Levi,
Yes.
Haverfield,
Yes.
Skog,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Perfect. And you're done. There you go. Mhm. Okay, item 8.5 on the agenda is an action item. This is to approve and authorize for submission to HUD the 2017 CDBG CAPER end-year report, and Robin Sellers is standing here ready to report. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. We're really excited to have our program year 2017 wrapping up. The purpose of this report is to report to HUD and also to citizens on how we did in program year 2017 with our CDBG allocation that was given in 2017. The total allocation for 2017 was $759,294 for all projects. So in this project year, including projects happening that continue to happen, like construction projects, we expended a little over $600,000 on projects during program year 2017. As a reminder, in program year 2017, we allocations go to Salvation Army, the Jesse Tree, Meals on Wheels, Brush Up, Autumn Gold. We did a Hunter's Park, and we did some pet improvements, and the Family Justice Center and Trinity New Hope with their playground. So that's how the money was allocated for program year 2017. We were able to help and start most of the projects. We have two that are just completing. Trinity New Hope is in the middle of getting their, they had a little delay, but they're on their way, and also North Canyon has just wrapped up. So those two projects are wrapping up also. So program year 2017, we still have the Family Justice Center. As you know, we'll talk about that later. That project will happen during 2018. But so we're pretty happy about that, being that our staff is relatively new for CDBG. I'm about 8 months in, and my coworker here is about 3 months in, so we're pretty excited about it. So the motion would be to approve the City of Nampa's Community Development Block Grant Program Year 2017 CAPER, or Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, for submission to the U.S. Housing and Urban Development Department. Any questions, Stu?
I have a question, Mayor, Council, on, and we can maybe set up a meeting if it requires a long answer, but the Brush Up Nampa line item, that's $15,000.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, is that administrative cost, overhead, or for the supplies?
So it's all of the above, and we can go, I'm happy to sit down with you and go through, but
Okay.
it's all of the above. So we do have some supplies that we purchase for Brush Up Nampa, and then there is payroll that goes to a
Okay.
specific line item.
We'll visit. I just, I didn't know it cost that much money to do it. I was under the impression it was kind of underwritten, donated items from the community, so support Brushing Up Nampa and everything associated with it. I just didn't know it cost that much money, so I'll keep an eye on that for future consideration. Thanks.
Okay, any further questions for Robin? Okay, this is a public hearing, And at this time, I don't have anyone signed up in support of or opposition, but is there someone here that would like to speak that was not signed up? Glenn, I saw movement over there. Were you planning on speaking? No. Okay. So there isn't anyone that would like to testify? Okay, then are there any further questions for Robin on this before we close public hearing? None? I'd stand for a motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Council discussion. And/or a motion.
I make a motion to approve the amended CBDG action plans as presented to us by Robin.
I'll second that.
So it's for the caper. For the
Caper.
Yeah, it's one above that.
Oh, I'm
2017
I'm sorry.
CDBG Caper
I
year-end
dropped
report.
down. Yes, 2017 CBDG Caper.
Right, to authorize you to submit to HUD.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so it's been moved and
Second.
seconded. Is there discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Brunner,
Yes.
Hogaboom,
Yes.
Levi,
Yes.
Skog,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Haverfield.
Yes.
Our next action item with Robin again is to approve to amend the CDBG 2015, 16, 17, and 18 action plans to reallocate the underspent funds to the 2018 Family Justice Center project.
Yes. Mayor, Council, so we spoke about this in the last, 30 days ago. We went through a public comment period of 30 days to see if there was any comment. We did not receive any comment on reallocating funds from past years of underspent projects to go toward the Family Justice Center projects. So what that means for HUD is that we need to amend each of those years and let them know that, yes, we're spending money from 2014, 2015, and 2017 will all happen in 2018 for the Family Justice Center project. And so it's really just to make the motion to approve to amend the action plans. I would also like to say that on the new business item, we'll need to pull that if we can because it refers to project work that would happen in 2018 for the 2018 allocation, and we have not completed the environmental review for that. And in the HUD process, we have to do the environmental review first. And then we can approve to spend the funds for the 2018 project or program, or sorry, I'm gonna get this out, scope of work. So the 2018 scope of work included the roofing part of it. And the 2017, we've already approved, you've gone through the public comment, it's good to go. So we just need to pull that new business item off, and then we'll get it worded correctly so that we can, and then finish our environmental review, so that we've got the right process in order for HUD.
Thank you. And I would like to say, you actually said CDBG 2014 on this, and on the action item, this says.
Oh, I'm sorry, I should have said.
15, 16, 17,
That was
18,
my error, sorry. It is 15, 16, sorry.
and 17.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
perfect. I just wanted to make sure that
Thank you.
we had it correct. Okay, are there any questions for Robin?
Yes, Mayor, Council. When you refer to in the packet underspent funds, for example, 2015, $23,569.88.
Yep.
I'm just wondering if I wasn't on the council at that time. So when there's an approval for that, is it the capacity, the underspent, so the money is still being going out of our fund balance for sort of like the idea of foregone, like a full amount wasn't spent in the past, and now we're appropriating all this $430,000 accumulated underspent money based on what the budget capacity was? Or is this money that's in an account that's designated specifically for this? I just
Yes,
want
it's
clarity.
It's CDBG funds
Yes.
that are designated specifically for
Okay.
projects like this. So, for example, if a project doesn't move forward, for example, we could have an environmental review come back and it says, no, I mean, you can't move forward. Let's say it was on Indian sacred ground and we can't move forward. So where it's been allocated, then we would have to say, okay, well, we now have $30,000 that we need to reallocate. And
Gotcha.
it's in its fund.
So there's accountability in each line item, project specific,
Yes,
because of the requirements. Okay, thanks, I appreciate
yes.
clarification.
Okay, are there any further questions? Seeing none, This is a public hearing, and there is not anyone signed up to speak in support of or to oppose this. Is there anyone here that had intended to speak on behalf of this item? Seeing none, and if there are no further questions from council, I would stand for a motion to adjourn public hearing,
So moved.
or to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, council discussion?
Mayor, council, make a motion to approve and amend the CDBG 2015, 16, 17, 18 action plans to reallocate underspent funds to the 2018 Family Justice Center project.
Second?
Further discussion? Roll call.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Brunner?
Yes.
Levi?
Yes.
Haverfield?
Yes.
Stog?
Yes.
Hogaboom?
Yes.
Okay, that is our last public hearing. We are going to go back to item number 6-8 on the agenda, which is our last open session item. This was an action item, and I just heard Robin suggest that we postpone this, and I would also like to mention that I had a question, and I don't remember if we addressed it, and that was, when we were asking to award this bid, did we clarify if we had ever actually authorized the bid by council on this particular item?
Brian talked about a piggyback, and Mark was gonna check in.
So I guess what I'm thinking, and maybe this is more internal than public hearing, procedurally, it's important that the council has actually authorized this to go out to bid before we come in and award a bid. And so before this comes back on the agenda, we need to clarify that and make sure that procedurally we are correct before we're willing to award the bid, that we've actually authorized someone to go to bid and the bid process. So it's important that we actually do, in my opinion, the appropriate bid work on this and that we have record of that. So it's been asked that we postpone this, so I think I would suggest, and then legal, please tell me if I'm wrong, I would stand for a motion to postpone this to a future council meeting, and it would come back as unfinished business. So do we need a vote for that?
Yeah, I think that's appropriate. Mayor.
Okay, so I would stand for a motion that this be postponed and put on the, I'm assuming the next council agenda, but could we just say future council agenda? That we bring it back.
I'll make that motion, Madam Mayor and Council.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Roll call.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Brunner?
Yes.
Levi?
Yes.
Haverfield?
Yes.
Hogaboom?
Yes.
Skog?
Yes.
So this completes our regular council session agenda items. We are going to adjourn into executive session. And I will stand for a motion after I read this, that we adjourn and into, a motion to adjourn into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 74206-1E to consider preliminary negotiations involving matters of trade or commerce in which the governing body is in competition with governing bodies in other states or nations, and we have 4 of those. And then another action item, which is a motion to adjourn into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 74206-1B to consider evaluation, dismissal, disciplining of, or to hear complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent, or public school student.
So moved.
Second?
And roll call.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Brunner?
Yes.
Hogaboom?
Yes.
Levi?
Yes.
Skog?
Yes.
Haverfield?
Yes.
And as you all know, we don't make decisions in executive session, and more than likely, you will be gone when we come out. And so thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate it, and we wish you all a Merry Christmas.